Hello, and thank you for sharing this time with me. My name is Jack Light, and over the next half hour or so, I'm going to be introducing you to our organization, the Caregiver Resource Center, Orange County, and how we help individuals and families achieve a successful caregiving journey. So, by way of introduction, I'm going to start our little slideshow here. By way of introduction, I'm going to go ahead and uh, tell you a little bit about our mission statement and our motto. And as our screen says here, our mission statement is to increase the quality of life of caregivers by helping families and communities master the challenges of caregiving. And hopefully through the next half hour or so, we'll be able to give you some examples of how we do that. Our motto, going to the next slide, our motto is caregiving includes caring for me. And I'll be talking a little bit about that later and how we implement that throughout your journey with us, or as you allow us to journey with you through being a family caregiver. Um, Now I'm going to move on to the next slide and give you some stuff that's a little bit boring, and I'll get back to it a little bit later, but it's somewhat important to know. It's our administrative background. We are a nonprofit entity, and we do accept contributions and donations for the services provided. But we do serve all of Orange County. Our host agency is Providence St. Jude Medical Center, and we've been doing this since 1989, exclusively devoted to family caregivers. Our Caregiver Resource Center is part of a system of 11 Caregiver Resource Center sites throughout California. And if you come to our website, you'll be able to access those if you're not from the Orange County area. And then we are also funded here in Orange County by what's called the Older Americans Act Title 3E. It's the National Family Caregiver Support Program, and it's a federal grant managed by the Orange County Office on Aging. And again, that's a lot of information there, but I'll kind of get back to it because it does make a difference in how we provide services. So going to the next slide, who we serve? Well, we serve family caregivers, informal caregivers, not folks who are paid. They're usually adults or relatives. They're at least 18 years of age, live in Orange County, and as does the person that they care for. And again, like I said earlier, are not paid to provide care. And there's some details there we'll talk about later, but generally that's who we serve. And then the most important thing that in what we do, going to the next slide, please, is that our services are free. And I've broken it down here to 4 general areas. We provide education, support, counseling, and resources. And again, our services are free, and part of that goes back to the administrative background. We are state and federally funded, and we also have the generous host agency of Providence St. Jude Hospital. We have what's called a cognitive behavioral approach. We're problem solvers. That's all that means. Our staff are professional social workers that provide care management and assessments. So we talk to you, we ask you what your needs are as a caregiver. And again, our focus is specifically caregivers. And we do counseling support groups, and we have other events and classes. And then we also, most importantly, can provide some grant funds to purchase goods and services that may help you temporarily get through any crisis or just help you adjust to being a family caregiver. Next slide, please. Okay. So now eligibility. This kind of goes into some of the boring administrative structure we had because we are federally and state funded. The cost of getting services generally is just getting some information from you, but we do have some criteria. Family caregivers are adults caring for persons with an adult onset cognitive brain impairment. And that could be a traumatic brain injury or what's called a degenerative disease. And most commonly, that would be somebody with Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's, MS, and a variety of other different things. And we also serve families or caregivers who are caring for somebody that's 60 years or older and unable to complete what are called two activities of daily living independently. Essentially, they're frail. But again, don't let these eligibility requirements get in the way of getting in touch with us. They just are there, and it's something that I like to let people know up front because of the way we're funded and who we're allowed to serve for free. But you're always free to contact us for just general information. So now let me help you walk through how we work with families and individuals to have this, what we call the successful caregiving journey. And if you're a caregiver now and you've never really sought out help, we sometimes ask you these questions. Are you losing patience, and are you not finding that loving and atmosphere, or you're starting to lose some of that humor that you had in life? Are these things waning? Are these things, as you're becoming a caregiver, going away? Well, part of our philosophy is we use this as part of a reflection. We have, into the next slide, we have this reflection from Ida LeSean, who was a writer and author and counselor. And I'd just like to read it to you because it's something that it's a great way to kind of start and get the philosophy of how we work with our caregivers. When we truly care for ourselves, it becomes possible to care far more profoundly about other people. The more alert and sensitive we are to our own needs, the more loving and generous we can be towards others. And so really with that segue into some of the things I'm going to be talking about today, is the philosophy at the Caregiver Resource Center, Orange County. And to put it simply, it's an analogous situation would be if you're on an airplane flight and the oxygen mask comes down. If you're somebody that's frail or will need your assistance later, you always want to put that oxygen mask on first yourself so that you can be of some assistance to the person that you're going to have to be responsible for. So simply put, that's kind of our philosophy. So moving into the next slide here. So as a caregiver, several things can happen. It's something that a lot of people take on as a natural course of life, but there are some consequences if you're not getting help you need, or if you're feeling overwhelmed. Some of those are some of the emotional consequences. Studies have shown that some caregivers suffer some tremendous emotional negative health effects. They become sad, and that is they experience stress, anxiety, and depression. Not all at once, and not everybody feels these things. But again, it's a part of life, and it can be almost any kind of stress. You get these same consequences sometimes if you have a stressful job or you're going through other life experiences. But as a caregiver, these are things that we help individuals and families work through if they're running into these things. The next thing that people run into are health consequences. And this one is a little bit more insidious. As caregivers provide care for their loved ones, they tend to defer a lot of their needs, especially when it comes to their health care. Instead of going to their own health appointments or managing their own medications, they're managing their loved ones' medications. They're not eating well. They're not sleeping well. They're really just putting forth 100% of their effort towards the person they're caring for. And part of that is as studies have shown, not only does the health deteriorate, but they tend to eat less or eat poorly. So those are just some of the things that happen with health. Now again, not everybody experiences this, but it's just from our experience in working with caregivers, we can help you evaluate these things. And then obviously the other thing that maybe go unspoken would be some of the financial consequences, which is in the next slide, some of the things that we talk about with our caregivers is that they don't realize that not only are they spending more of their own resources, which is sometimes time and effort, but they're covering some of the cost of home care needs, some of the cost of medical expenses. And then for those of us that are working caregivers, obviously we are kind of distracted. We may miss days at work, and we may have to rely on others to bear the burden of some of these costs that you're not really well aware of until you start your caregiving journey. And obviously part of that too, when we talk about medical expenses, is really understanding, especially when you're caring for somebody that is an older adult that may be on Medicare, or even somebody that is experiencing Parkinson's or MS at a young age. How do we manage these medical expenses? So we help families with these three things. So we look at the emotional, the health, financial. Try to look at things uh, in a very three-dimensional way, a multi-dimensional way. Okay. So the next slide. So again, just to kind of talk a little bit more about our organization, we are the Caregiver Resource Center, Orange County. Okay, and again, just to kind of recap what I talked about earlier, we can provide you information. You can give us a call. You can look at our website. Uh, we also do educational events in the community. This is one of them. We provide support through our case managers. We actually assign somebody to a caregiver to help them navigate their caregiving journey, and we help build skills. We help you put together a what's called a caregiver action plan, and then we also provide resources. And again, these are not long term, but they are tangible, and we can help you with purchasing goods and services that may help you get through a rough patch in your caregiving journey. So, having said all that, let me start talking a little bit about how we approach and how we work with our caregivers. One of the things we start with our caregivers is helping them understand the diagnosis. We say start with the diagnosis, understand the things that you need to about what your your loved one, the person you're caring for, is going through. So if it's Alzheimer's or dementia or MS or Parkinson's, it's always good to know what they are going through. Participate in their appointments, and kind of understand what activities of daily living are no longer routine for your loved one, um, especially as they progress in their disease. Things like bathing, dressing, grooming, eating, preparing their own meals, and then starting to understand. And again, this term is becoming more and more understood as especially now with the pandemic, this idea of new normal. But for caregivers, we've known for a long time that caregivers who are working with someone with a cognitive brain impairment, it's almost overnight what this new normal is. Now, the one caution we always provide is that we don't expect caregivers, and caregivers shouldn't expect themselves to be experts about these diseases, nor should they be necessarily seeking cures. I think part of it is just an understanding, because then it helps with your ability to move forward and provide the kind of care and intervention that you'd like to provide. Okay, the next thing is evaluating, just basically what the care needs are in the home. How much time and effort and actual space is your loved one going to be living with you? Are you going to be living with them? You're going to have to investigate the benefits of their current health plan and resources, including public programs, in determining how you're going to help your loved one stay at home, if that's your choice. If you're caregiving, usually the families that we work with are caring for their loved ones either in their own home or spending a significant amount of time at their loved one's home, providing them care there. And then obviously evaluating your ability to contribute your time, talent, or treasure. Whether your time in terms of arranging appointments, your talent in terms of cooking meals, housekeeping, all these other skills that you never thought of, maybe just doing for somebody else, but now you have to do so. And then treasure, obviously, again, I can't emphasize anymore sometimes that it does come at some sort of cost, either to your loved one in terms of whether they planned for long-term care in the home or with you. These are things that we consider. We help you evaluate your home care needs. And then, one of the more important things that we talk about is communication. Um, as we go and we talk to you and we work with you, uh, we help you engage others. Um, and again, it's the metaphor of it takes a village. You need to start talking to your loved one about their healthcare wishes, and hopefully, this was something that was happening before they became too impaired. Um, Difficult conversations about finances, and then bringing together your family and your friend networks. You know, other people that are important to you that are going to have a role in providing care to your loved one or supporting you as you provide care. And then we'll help you engage community services. There are other programs in the community besides ours, and it's important that you're aware of them, and it sometimes helps to have a guide. So as we walk with you through your journey, we'll be introducing you to these things and providing you some skills. Again, I talked about our methodology. It's problem solving, and we hope to provide you some skills in terms of how you can engage family and friends and have some of these difficult and sometimes awkward conversations. So especially if you're going to be the primary caregiver. It's tough to sometimes engage others because you're so caught up in what's going on, but we're here to help you to do that. And then the other thing I talk about is this caregiver foundation. You're going to be the bedrock for how the care of your loved one moves forward. So, part of being a caregiver is trying to keep everybody informed, not to keep those secrets there because people can't provide you help or offer services if you're the only one that knows what's going on. We help you focus on the present. Family dynamics are huge. We understand that relationships within your family, relationships, any social relationship is complex, and it only becomes more complex as you take on these added duties of becoming a caregiver. And then obviously we work with caregivers in terms of being honest, reflecting, and helping caregivers understand that sometimes it does take a toll on you physically, emotionally, sometimes spiritually. Um, and we help you set parameters to recognize your limitations and obviously help you learn to ask for help. And on that point, really, really quickly, the idea of one of the things that we also introduce you to is our other caregivers. And one of the best ideas we've ever received was from a caregiver about how to ask for help. Um, it's uh, it's very awkward sometimes to be vulnerable, but one of the things that we pass on to caregivers is this idea of keeping a list. As you become more involved in caregiving, there are certain tasks that need to happen. And so here's the tip I'm going to share with you that came from a actual caregiver. One is to keep a list. Keep a list of all the activities that you, as a caregiver, need to have happen to provide the care for your loved one. And when somebody comes to you and asks if they can help you, well, you can just show them your list. Now, it doesn't have to be an involved list. It doesn't have to be a long list, but it can be simple things. Things like pick up medications, prepare a meal, um, make a phone call, things like that. That you can just keep a simple list. And so when somebody asks, hey, is there something I can do to help? You can just show them your list and have them make a choice. It's a way of honoring the request for help. And it's also a way of not having you feel like you have to, at a vulnerable time, start to tell them a whole host of other things that you wish could be done, but obviously would be maybe overwhelming to some. But yeah, so those are the little tips and that we can provide you, and some of them that come from us, some of them come from clinical work, and others just come from good ideas from other caregivers. And that kind of moves into our next topic here, this effective problem solving. Um, And I know that this sounds really technical, but we do it in such a way that we help through our case management staff. We help you define some of the issues around caregiver. We help you brainstorm. Again, we provide you resources, and then we also help you evaluate options. So, the best laid plans need to be revisited. We need to look at them and revise them. But that's what we do. That's who we are. We are our organization through our case management staff does that. And so with that, we hope that we get you to where you need to be. Okay. So let's talk a little bit more about this action planning. Through the Caregiver Resource Center, we go through an assessment where we just talk about you as the caregiver. And we understand that you know a lot about your loved one, the person that you are caring for. And it may be difficult sometimes to really talk about yourself and your needs. And to develop this action plan, what we do is we do this thorough assessment. It takes about 45 minutes. And then we ask you to make a commitment to yourself. What are 2 things that are easily achievable? Okay. We ask you to write it down, and we ask you to share it with others. Just, it doesn't have to be with the world, but if you write it down and you make the commitment, you'll do it. And sometimes it can be something very simple. And again, it's all about self-care. What can you do to care for yourself while you're providing care to somebody else? So that can mean a lot of different things. Taking time out, taking respite time, asking somebody else to take over your caregiving duties, being able to just have a moment to attend a family event. So these are things that we talk about that are meaningful and achievable. Because caregiving we understand that caregiving is 24/7, 365 days a year. It's always going to be in the back of your mind, and for many, it's one of the most important things that they're doing in their lives, if not the most important thing at the time. Now, we'll help you reevaluate your plan and work through it and provide you the resources that are available that we have to provide this plan. And then again, we help you reevaluate. Now, as I said, the services are all free, and the cost of doing business is engaging us in this interactive model of answering a few questions, going through the assessment, and trying to put together this plan that you yourself can implement. Let's talk a little bit about respite. I kind of alluded to it, taking time out. And this is one of the things that we work with our caregivers on in terms of identifying what this really means. And obviously, taking a break can mean a few different things. Taking a break can be taking a vacation from caregiving by letting somebody else handle it 100% while you're off doing something that's going to re-energize you. But really, it's a short interval of rest or reprieve. And, it could be a 10-minute walk that day, or just a half hour of quiet time where you're reading, or being able to binge watch on Netflix for a couple of hours. These are things that really we help you plan so that you can take this time for yourself. Because the important thing is to learn how to do that and to do it in a way that works within the context of your caregiving. And really, it's a time too with this new normal where you have to plan for pleasurable events. As a caregiver, we like to say life happens. So you never really know what's coming next. So you're going to do the best you can to plan for these pleasure events. And it sounds a little bit selfish to be thinking about yourself as a caregiver, but that's not what we try to work with. That's not the concept we're trying to to engage you in. The concept is you need to be the best version of yourself. You need to be the best, well rested, and able to help, to be a good caregiver, and to be of value to the person you're caring for. So respite is another aspect of what we provide, and sometimes what we do is we provide funding for respite. Um, Sometimes the only way you can get a break is to hire somebody, and we do have some funds for that. We educate you. We teach you how to negotiate with. Um, First of all, we teach you how to find organizations that provide home care. We educate you on what the going rate is, what the cost of home care is, and how to negotiate hours, and the different agencies and what it is that they all have to offer. That's a learning curve for a lot of folks. And then we also help you understand what your insurance pays for and what it doesn't, or your loved one's insurance pays for. So we give you an opportunity through some of our grant funding to do that at a nominal cost to you or of no cost to you, just to give you the experience of having that break and understanding the process of hiring a home care agency. So that's one aspect of respite planning. And the other aspect too is introducing you to other organizations out there that can provide you respite based on what your loved one qualifies for through their insurance, or through some of the public programs that are available to them. The other aspects that we provide are counseling and support groups. And we give you the option of using our staff. We have licensed professional counselors that talk to you about caregiving issues specifically. We do limit our counseling to caregiving issues specifically, but we can also redirect you to other counselors and therapists that can work with you on other issues too besides caregiving. And then also there are support groups. And there's no support group where one size fits all, so you have to find something that suits you. And I've always found this caption. I think that the reason why we have this little cartoon here is because a lot of times the first visit isn't always the best. But as you see, this is the apathy support group. It starts at 7 and it's 5 after 7, and obviously the attendance is outstanding. But at the end of the day, really, we always know that you have a choice, and we try to help you make those choices. And we help find something that suits you. And again, it's not just limited to the counseling support groups, but other services. And so we expect that certain things will require some trial and error. And then again, I just want to go back to how we do this. I've been talking a lot about us as an organization we have what we call care management staff, or case managers, or the professional social workers. And really, we want to walk alongside you in your journey. There are going to be a lot of people giving you direction, what should be done, what needs to be done, what has to be done. A lot of that is going to be driven towards, the care of your loved one. Our perspective is we want you to advocate for your self-care. We want to be your partner in this. And we want to make sure that we're the voice that's always in the back of your mind saying, hey, are you taking care of yourself? Are you being the best you can be, and taking the time to refresh and really be effective as a caregiver? And that's part of the assessment and reassessment process. If you don't stop and sometimes, take your pulse, take a check on how you're doing, you'll never really know. So we do that through our case management staff. They're available to you and able to work with you and kind of understand your specific situation. And they'll probably provide as much guidance as possible. And they're made available to you once you're enrolled in our program. And again, these are services that are ongoing. These are services that are free. And as you engage us and work with us, we are able to um, be more effective and point you in the right direction. And the ultimate outcome is that you are feeling not only successful in caring for your loved one, but you're also feeling successful that you've cared for yourself, and that throughout the process and throughout this journey that you have been the best version of what you can be under what sometimes are difficult circumstances, but are also very fulfilling. And really that's the other side of caregiving that we would like you to experience during your journey, that everything that you have committed to is fulfilling and meets the needs, your family's needs and your needs. Um, and having said that, we are available. We are what we call a great first call for caregivers. Um, our website is on there. It's caregiveroc.org. And if you look at our website, we can also redirect you to a variety of other organizations that can provide help not only to your loved one, but maybe you know somebody that's a caregiver in another part of the state of California, and you can take advantage of the statewide system of caregiver resource centers. You can always give us a call. We answer the phone, and if somebody's not there to take your call, because we are, you know, serving a lot of people, we'll be able to get back to you and talk to you. And our normal business hours are 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. But please give us a call. You can reach out to us via our website, to drop us an email. We're very open to communicate with you in any way that you feel comfortable. I really want to emphasize, please feel free to give us a call. Or have someone give them our number and have them give us a call, and we'd be happy to keep in touch with them. Now, I'd just like to leave you with one last quote, because we know that caregiving is nothing new, and this is from First Lady Rosalind Carter, former First Lady. And there are 4 kinds of people in this world: those who have been caregivers, those who currently are caregivers, and those who will be caregivers, and those who will need caregivers. So obviously, if you're a caregiver now, someday you may need a caregiver, and you may be, with our help, modeling the kind of caregiving that you would like to receive, and be able to pass that on to the generations or the people that may be your caregivers, so that they are able to do it in an effective way, and in a way that's fulfilling, and in a way where they are ending up as the best versions of themselves as they're providing care to you. So again, I want to thank you for taking this time with me, and I hope that we've been helpful, and I hope that I've given you, this is the only time you spend with us, I've given you some food for thought, and please feel free to reach out. Again, my name is Jack Light. I'm with the Caregiver Resource Center, Orange County, and please give us a call.